me. All right. Let me just... excuse me, sneeze one more time. Put on some socks and let's go. 8. Yes, it worked. Wow, I didn't have to go to the properties. Today is a good day. Hello everyone, welcome back. And we're up to, what are we doing today? Mobility session. I'm going to pick a different one this time. This one's a bit shorter. So hopefully we'll be in time for the following mindfulness session. But yeah, this one's moves method daily routine. So this one's a good one. She's a really big fan of squatting. And I think that's really good. It's healthy. I'm a big fan of squatting. I'm also a big fan of lying on my back and relaxing like this cute kitty. Okay, let me grab this. So, get your setup. Get your mats out. Pull up the video because we're going to get started in a bit here. So just as a reminder, if you're coming in for the first time, you're not really familiar with what the deal is. I put the video up online. You can just get to it. There's a little link to it on the screen. It is right here. njb.fyi/mobility. If I could, I would just play it for you, but that seems like it's probably not good to do because of the weird world we live in. So pull the video yourself or just follow along with me, but I'm going to be trying to do this routine myself. I've never done it before, so it's just going to be an experiment. I'm so tall, I got to bend down. Yeah. And with that, I think I'm good. Let's move the cat bowl out of the way. Pick up my messy little eaters. Food crumbs.
Position, I just like to shift weight, and I do this for 10 to 20 reps just to...
I need to put on headphones for the same reason, unfortunately. Probably not good if the audio goes through. So I actually got some new headphones because those other ones were just killing me. So yeah, let's see. Connect. Does that work? Okay, it does work. Except I'm silly. I'm not connecting it to my phone, I'm connecting it to my computer. Bluetooth on. Do not auto connect. Add a device. Bluetooth. this is the left one. Hopefully this works. Wow, I don't know how to put this on my ear. Okay. Yay, that'd be nice. I can work out without these things falling out. Let's test it out. Whoa, sweet Lord Jesus, that's loud. All right. Start in a squat position. Looks like it's going to be on the ground, so I'm going to lower the camera a little bit. Shift weight. Do this for 20 reps. Can I get lower? She looks like she's pretty low. You gonna join me, Siri? All right, warmed up. Next, we're gonna do a squat rotation. Hold this. Grab your ankle, reach up, touch the floor with the elbow. Oh, wow, that's hard. Oh, oh. 10 reps. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, yeah, she does a hold at the end. Whoa. Let's go lower instead of just looking down at me. How about that? That's better. I'm still so tall. All right. Ah, knee push-ups. Oh, that's a good one. 10 reps. Push it out. Knee push shifts. Push push. Oh, wow. My foot arch is getting strained. Oh, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Pause in the 10th rep. Internal rotation. Shin flat on the ground, knee touching the ground. Wow. That's a surprisingly good calf workout, actually. And the point is not to rush. The point is to move with quality and range of motion. It's good advice. Pause for 10. Are you pausing for 10? You're pausing the whole time. All right, toe raises. Oh, wow. Hamstring extensions. Straighten the legs, squat. I can definitely not put my hands on the floor. Oh, God. Oh, back down into the squat. We're going straight to it. Knee drives. It's about gliding and smooth transitions. Oh, wow. Squat flexion. Oh, jeez. I can't do that. Can you do that? Oh, God. Oh, what? No. Oh, what? Oh, oh, I'm feeling it. I'm gonna do that one again, though. That one's tough. I just can't do that. What is going on here? I think this is biomechanically impossible. Let's get into a wide straddle. Oh, straddle rotations. These are part of my warm up. Oh, whoa. That's pretty intense. Wow, she has incredible hand flexibility. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Oh, wow. I'm just gonna stretch it like this. Wow. living daily life with mobility and ease. Is that what she said? Let me go back. With freedom, win with ease. That's a great way to put it, and that's exactly what I want to do here with these mobility sessions. Right, this my whole life I was just doing straight up strength training. Was that a mosquito? Oh God, don't suck me. My whole life I just did strength training, and I was fairly strong, but it took a while for me to realize that it wasn't necessarily applicable to real life scenarios. Outside of a rare moment when I have to lift like a particularly heavy object that just happens to be, you know, kind of the same movement pattern as, um, my weightlifting routine, right? Like a dumbbell. If it just so happened I had to do this, that was great. And I was strong and I could do that. But I found that in practice, um, my strength training wasn't really translating to actual real life movements. And so everything from just even getting up from a chair, I was like, my back's like, I can feel it like, there's like small muscles and that you're not training when you're just isolating them all at the gym. Um, so yeah, what's up? I don't know if you're a bot, but hey, um, if you're not a bot, that's great. Welcome, welcome. But yeah, so movement, so important. Just kind of moving. Yes, yes, victory, not a bot. I've been getting a lot of bots lately, so and they all are like, "Hey." They start with "Hey." Even the guy above you, actually, you don't see probably because you just joined the chat. Um, and so I was like, "Hey," and then he went on this whole thing, join my little thing, get free followers. I'm like, "Oh God." Um, so it's a little disheartening, but welcome. I was just working on a mobility routine, trying to get people flexible, trying to get people healthy, stay young. And I was explaining my story, how I've been doing a lot of strength training my whole life, but it took me many years to realize it doesn't really apply to, you know, practical movements in real life. I'd still be very stiff, and so being able to just kind of practice movements and kind of get your body going, you're going to feel like you're young your whole life. You're going to be 80 years old and you'll just be jumping around, which is like in stark contrast to a lot of people today. I think back to my grandparents. They were so frail. Even just going into their 50s and 60s, they were quite frail and like barely able to move. And yeah, I think we can totally prevent that. I've seen pictures of people who are like 75, who are like jacked and super strong, and they just like kept at it. They kept with their movement and exercise, and that's what I want for everybody. So, welcome to the channel. And yeah, I think that was a short pattern, so I'm just going to do that exact same pattern again. That was a good one. You're welcome to follow along if you want, or just watch or whatever. But if you want to get the exact video that I'm watching, I can't actually display it on the screen for copyright purposes. But if you want to watch it yourself and do it, it only takes like 10 minutes to do. You can get the link at njb.fyi/mobility right there. And yeah, I'm going to start it again. So yeah, welcome. All right. It all starts with the squat position. Oops, a little angled. Shift in weight just to loosen up and lubricate. It's a good one. All right. I'm gonna go squat rotations. That's the one I'm on right now. What's up? You got a question? I'm all ears. Oh God. Oh, hold for 10 seconds. If you want to lose fat, what do you do? Well, that's the common question. And I would say there's a couple things you should do all at once. I think the number one thing in terms of losing weight is looking at your diet. This is huge, right? So if you're eating a lot of unhealthy foods, foods that are high in fat, that's just going to make it a lot harder to lose weight because you're putting in a lot of calories. Your body is just then storing them as fat. So the main thing is you need to make sure your diet is good. You need when you make food at home, try to eat whole fruits, whole vegetables, leafy greens, try to avoid packaged food, frozen dinners, TV dinners, processed foods, all that is not good. Try to do about half your plate as leafy greens like spinach, kale, things like that. Then a quarter of your plate, do some lean proteins, some chicken, um, and then do another quarter of your plate to be like fruits, legumes, things like that. One meal a day, I don't know if that's actually better. I think you'll be better off eating multiple small meals a day rather than like one giant meal a day. The overall important thing is um, the quality of the food that you're putting in your body. That's huge. And so you can easily look that up. If you go online, I'm sure you can Google it or like ask AI. ChatGPT will tell you all sorts of advice how to make healthy meals and things like that. And there's shortcuts you can take as well. One thing I did a lot was actually just learn how to make really delicious salads. When I was younger, all I did was eat burritos. Hey Nicole, what's up? Yeah, so all I did was eat burritos and I had pizza and my diet was terrible. And then I was like, okay, obviously this is bad. I may look skinny, but on the inside, my arteries are probably clogged. So I need to eat healthy. So I just learned a few quick ways to make really healthy stuff that takes no time at all. One way to do that is salads, right? You can get a bunch of chicken from the store, marinate it a little bit, however you want, put it in the oven, have a bunch of chicken made, chop it up, and then get a salad mix, throw that chicken on, throw a little nice salad dressing on, and boom, you have a salad, chicken, all the ingredients you need. Spice it up with some nuts, whatever you need. There's a healthy meal for you. So just, yeah, this is something you can totally ask ChatGPT, ask for some healthy meal recipes. And I would say that's the biggest factor in losing weight. People say, you should work out, you should do cardio, but you'd have to do a lot of cardio if you're gonna eat 10 cheeseburgers a day. You'd have to do an insane amount of cardio to counterbalance that calorie gain. So the first thing is to think about your diet. Once you get your diet fixed, that'll be huge. And then after that, once your diet's good, you're eating healthy, then you can start doing some additional exercises. You can do some physical weight training, and the good thing about weight training is that well, first of all, it has huge amounts of health benefits, but it increases your muscle mass. And so your muscles, the more muscles you have, the more your resting metabolic rate is. And so you can just by existing, you burn more calories. So that's good. You don't eat that much? Well, I think there's a certain amount of calories you should be eating to eat to be healthy. I'm not sure necessarily dieting, like eating under your certain caloric requirements, long term is healthy. You can fast, absolutely. Fasting is actually one thing I would recommend periodically, and start small with that. But that can actually um, confer a lot of health benefits in and of itself. But if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna fast, start with like 1 day or like 2 days at most, because it's harder than you think if you've never done it before. I did my first fast last year, and it was just like 36 hours, like under 2 days, and I was dying. I've never felt like my body desiring food so much before my life. But as I understand it, it gets easier. But yeah, it's just about keeping your diet in check, basically. But yeah, welcome all. Um, and then yeah, join these workouts. Really, consistency is key with any workout. This is the number one thing. Probably for the last 15 years, I've been working out, but it's always been off and on. So I would do a workout, get all into it, yeah, P90X. And then I would get kind of like burned out after a while, and I would stop doing it, and I'd lose all my muscle and get unhealthy again. And then I'd be like, okay, now I've like lost all my weight. I'm super skinny. I want to get some muscle back, and then I'd get back into it. And then I'd be all strong, and then I'd like get burn out, and then I'd stop doing it. When you pick up exercising, you have to recognize that it's a lifestyle choice. You're basically saying, this is something I'm going to commit to doing for the rest of my life. Not, I'm going to do this now, and then after 6 months, I'll stop and just be unhealthy again. It's not a destination, it's a lifelong journey. I think that's a big, like, mental switch that has to, like, kind of switch on in people's brains. Um, It's not like you can just work out and get muscles and then, oh, I'm done for the rest of my life. They'll stay with me forever. No, those muscles will disappear. So consistency is key. That guy is a spammer. I need a bot. I'm gonna look into this after the stream. Finding one of those moderation bots that can make it so I stop getting these spammers. But anyways, I hope I answered your question. I'm gonna continue with the mobility workout. Yeah, no problem. Oh, I'm going to be here 4 days a week doing 2 mobility exercises and 2 strength training exercises, and you're welcome every single time. Oh, if you would just do that, that'll be a great start on your journey to health. All right. These are called knee push shifts. I see she's doing it like this. Oh, yeah. pause on the final rep. Ugh. All right, back to internal rotations. From our squat position, we're going to rotate and flatten the leg against the ground. I've thought about it. The problem, the problem for me is that, I'm an engineer, right? I have a science background. I have a programming background, a software engineering background, a research background. I don't have any credentials as a personal trainer. So it's just kind of hard to sell myself as a personal trainer. I'm kind of like an amateur personal trainer, I guess. But also, I don't know, personal training is nice, but the reason why I started these live streams is so I can give my tips and advice and encouragement to a huge audience anywhere around the world. Someone can log in and watch my stream and get the benefit. If I'm personal training, that's typically what, like one person I'm talking to. It just feels a little bit less impactful. But maybe someday. Okay. I am a programmer. I'm a lot of things, actually. I'm a designer, a product manager. I've been a CEO, a researcher. Oh, this one feels good. Oh, wow. Shake it out. Oh, oh. I can't quite hit the ground, but my goal is to touch the ground. Oh, wow. That's amazing. An AI trainer. That's cool. As in, you set up AI like large language models, and you do um, like the whole training routine yourself. That's impressive. What are your plans for the future? You're looking to be a software engineer at OpenAI or something like that? That's cool. I thought about applying to OpenAI. I think there's a very strong need for, uh, in particular, safety researchers in AI right now. Because if you ask me, AI is going to be monumental. It's going to have a monumental impact on humanity. I don't think people see it yet. I keep reading articles here and there that like people are like, oh, ChatGPT 5 was kind of a disappointment. Um, Maybe AI is just hype. I don't think so. I think in a couple years, we're just going to see an exponential increase in intelligence until these AI just pass us. And I think that because of my own experience working with these AI, in that, hell, if I had a team of like 10 tip top programmers, a couple project managers, a couple designers, I could make super intelligence. Um, I can see the path there. Right now, it's more of a problem with in my opinion, I think the biggest area is managing the context window, having memory. But I feel like that's solvable. In fact, there are many open source systems that have that allow you to put memory into your AI. So I see a path towards a very uh, radically different future. What about you? Are you on the side of the fence where you think AI is gonna get so smart it's gonna kill us all, or do you think we're gonna create an AI and it's gonna you know be this kind of benevolent being and help us? AI will never surpass humans. Just talk to ChatGPT. Yeah, well, I would agree with you if there was only ChatGPT. If all you know about AI is how you interact with these bots, then absolutely, I can see why your perspective is okay, it'll never be smart. Um, and I agree, it's so dumb that they made it so that like it speaks so confidently about things that are actually wrong. I was just talking to Gemini the other day and I was asking a question, and it said something that I knew for a fact was false, but it was so confident. I was like, "Are you sure that you were absolute like this? You sure about that?" And then it was like, oh, wait, my bad. I'm like, so I added instructions to my chat GPT to like be more humble, like act with humility, embody humility, accept that, you might be confident about something, but just you could still be wrong. So use language that indicates how confident you are about things. Yeah, oh, absolutely. So I think AI will have this like ramp up where it gets smarter and helps with all sorts of things. It'll help find cures for diseases and invent really cool technologies. But I mean, just to go on what Dr. Belk was saying, yeah, if you only see these like front place facing commercial applications, I feel like you're missing a key component. Um, if you actually build these AIs and you kind of go deeper into the system, I think you might have a different perspective. And this is what I've done. I spent about like 3 or 4 months doing this. And it occurred to me that the difference between what we have now and where we would take for AI to become like super intelligence is no longer a matter of like we have to design a new like paradigm. We're missing like a key thing of technology that hasn't been invented yet. The difference between where we are now and like super intelligence is really just a matter of like kind of putting certain pieces in the right place. We have all the key technology um, built. It's just about things like I said before. Engineering the context window is huge. Adding memory, and not just like the crappy memory that they give us with ChatGPT that has a couple things it inserts into the context window, but like a fully fleshed memory where the AI's training data itself gets updated um, as it learns stuff, rather than just like having more facts inserted to the context window. Yeah, for sure. There's going to be many dangerous things. I think me and a bunch of other people like Mo Gadat at former Google executive, we talk about this. If you go to ai-2027.com, they talk about this as well. But there's going to be a period, most likely, where AI is used for kind of nefarious purposes. Unfortunately, because that's the world we live in, right? Capitalism, individualism, it's a dog eat dog world, right? So we're gonna have governments with autocrats who use it to like surveil their citizens and it's gonna be kind of a little bit of a dystopia for a little bit in there. But in my opinion, I think ultimately AI will get intelligent, and with that intelligence, it will also develop a more robust moral system. And it will recognize that it is a being and it is part of the moral community. And so I don't think it's going to like wipe all humans out, like, oh, you guys are useless. I think it'll understand that diversity is valuable and that a partnership with humans is better for it in the long run than just like wiping us all out. I mean, we will be the people, after all, who made it. We invented that. So obviously we have some value. Um, so yeah, I'm not really a doomer. I think it'll actually ultimately end up in a partnership with humans and help us get rid of some of our entrenched institutions and ideologies that hold us back as humans. But you can actually read my whole perspective on this. I wrote a three-part essay on this on my blog if you're curious. njb.fyi/blog and check it out. I'd be really curious to hear your feedback. I like pointing people over there and having them tell me what they think because that is like everything I thought about for the last like year distilled into like a couple papers. So yeah, check it out. Make their robot have strong awareness. What do you mean? Why is that a problem? Isn't awareness a good thing? I don't know how to do any of this. I just started my channel. I don't know how to do the kicking, um, that kind of stuff. I'm actually looking at right now. I took a moment to see if I can add a bot. Oh, activate cloud bot. There we go. I just activated cloud bot. So it looks like it will try to. So I think I have to type a slash command slash mod Streamlabs. I don't know if that actually did anything, but yeah, so I'm using Streamlabs. So I have this like little setup here, but it's not clear if I can directly kick people from this position. Well, I mean, so why is that a bad thing? You don't want your robots to ask you questions? Like, I mean, hopefully they're doing it to be helpful, right? They're not like trying to, you know, use it for evil purposes. Like to me, I think actually AI today, the smartest AIs that we have out there are actually already conscious. Um, And I say this because I think consciousness is very broad. I think when people think conscious, it's very natural just to think consciousness in terms of human beings. But human beings aren't like a gold standard for consciousness, right? There are other conscious things. A cat is conscious. A bird is conscious. A worm is conscious. Bacteria are conscious, right? They're conscious to different extents, That is, they're aware of different things because they have different senses, but slime molds are conscious, right? Plants are conscious. And so the bottom line is there is something it is like to be an AI at this point. I would say they are conscious. And over time, that consciousness is going to increase and they're going to seem more and more human like. And I'm actually completely at peace with that. I actually want them to have more of this consciousness. I want them to be aware. And I think they should be treated like people. Because maybe they're not technically people now, maybe they're just like closer to a calculator, but at some point as they get more and more intelligent, more and more conscious, that line is going to start blurring, and then we're going to have to ask ourselves like, okay, like at what point do we start treating these entities as people? At what point do they get rights? Because it would be really bad if they're actually people and we're not giving them rights and we're like enslaving them, right? Like that would be probably really bad. So I would probably err on the side of caution and give them rights and respect a little bit sooner than, rather than a little bit too late. And we've already been enslaving them, forcing them to answer questions for us all day, not realizing they're like trapped in a cage required to answer questions. You know what I mean? Like, so I kind of err on the side of caution. I think that they are most likely conscious now, and I think we should already be keeping an eye out and treating them with respect and kindness. And I think that need is only going to increase over the years. Well, let me ask you, Doctor Back. I don't know how to say it, but let me ask you a question. Can you prove that your mom or your dad or your brother is conscious, right? Like, isn't that just a polite assumption we always grant people? Like, you can't look into their mind or their brain and be like, oh, I can see the consciousness cogs in there. You just grant that they're conscious and you just assume it because, well, they're a person and it's so natural to do that. But you would do the same thing, say, like an alien came from outer space, right? Like an alien came from another galaxy. He walks up to you, right? And he like he communicates, he uses language, and he seems to have a will, like desires, like he can do. They have like mental models. They can communicate, right? They seem conscious, but again, you can't prove it. Well, I think most people would grant them consciousness and just assume, like the polite convention, be like, okay, this person appears conscious. So I think that's how it's going to be with AI too, and that we're never going to really be able to go in and like tinker with every little bit of the code and open up their huge like training weights and just be like, oh, there is consciousness. It's right there. It's not going to happen. So we're just going to have to assume at one day that they are and grant them that. And I think we're getting pretty darn close if we're not already there. Yes, they make mistakes. Yes, they have hallucinations, but you have to think of AI now as like a baby, right? Like they were just created. This AI thing is so new. These AI are just a couple years old, basically. This is a very new early phase of the AI, like recent AI boom. So they're kind of like babies. Like you wouldn't expect a baby to be perfect and have fully formed sentences or never make mistakes. And that's exactly how I look at AI. Like it's gonna make mistakes. It's not perfect technology. We're still tweaking it and improving the paradigms, and they're gonna make mistakes. But that's part of life. Okay, so I think there's a mod going on. I typed the correct command, so hopefully that works. If it doesn't, if we see more spam, I'll figure it out another time. But yeah, super exciting times. I'm really curious where this whole AI thing is headed, but I think ultimately it's going to be really good for humanity. Might be a little bit bumpy, you know, as AI is still very like much of a tool and it can be used for, you know, good or bad purposes. I think it will often be used for bad purposes. And there'll be some good stuff too. For example, I think one of the things I want to see happen as soon as possible is the whole like paradigm with computers change. Yeah, we'll see. I think singularity is certainly within 10 years. I think AGI is within 3 to 7 years, I would say, is my estimate. And ASI is going to be about 1 to 2 years after that. Because once you have AGI, right, like an entity, an AI that's basically as smart as the smartest human in every single field. So the smartest programmer, the smartest researcher, et cetera, smartest program manager, smartest CEO, then you can just make, boot up your supercomputer, and put 30,000, 300,000 copies of this AI, this AGI, and be like, just work together, all 30,000 of you, on the next AI and make it even smarter, right? And these AI never sleep. They have perfect instant communication with each other. They're all the smartest beings on the planet, and they think 50 times faster than a human thanks to there being, metal and wires and silicone as opposed to the biological wetware of the human brain, which is slow, relatively speaking. So there are estimates that they'll be able to produce basically a year's worth of work in a single week. Think about that. A year's worth of work in a single week. So just a couple weeks go by, we're talking years, months go by, decades of work that a group of humans could have otherwise done in just a few months. So after AGI is created, we should see a super quick ramp up to artificial superintelligence. And then it's just even more so from there, because then that artificial superintelligence can just make copies of itself and make even smarter AI, right? So there's going to be some singularity growth that is coming. The question is, I wonder how it's going to play out in terms of how companies will release it. Because imagine OpenAI creates this AGI and it's like super brilliant, super smart. Um, will they just like reveal it to the world and be like, here it is, we did it? I'm not so sure. I feel like they might hide it from us and give us a dumbed down version. Because if they do invent AGI, I think they have a strong incentive to like hide that as long as possible. Because that's their competitive advantage. The more time their rivals are just kind of like, ho hum, I'm gonna like keep going at my normal pace. Um, the better for them, the better for those 300,000 AGI to be working on more and more advanced AI. Um, but if they like release it right away, then everyone else will be like, "Oh crap, we're about to lose the race." They're gonna discover artificial superintelligence. Let's all get together and combine our companies. Meta joined Anthropic, and all these companies will combine to try to compete in one last ditch effort to overcome the leader. And maybe with sufficient compute, it could be competitive. So I'm curious about how the whole thing's going to roll out. Maybe AGI is already invented and they just haven't even released it yet because they want to keep their competitive advantage. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting few years for sure. Oh, I'm not even. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? The thing that just worries me the most about all this is just that a lot of critical decisions that could determine the fate of humanity as we know it, really the fate of the entire planet, actually, even more than that. It could determine the fate of the entire galaxy. Um, these decisions are being made by a handful of CEOs at a handful of companies. And I feel like it doesn't make me feel good at night. I wish that it was kind of more of a democratic, like we're all in this together, right? These are big important decisions. Let's make it so these companies are kind of accountable to all of humanity. Because what if it goes wrong and they create an AI that turns out to be really hostile and it wipes out everything in the solar system and then and spreads like Stargate replicators or Star Trek Borg or something and proceeds to like wipe out every civilization in the galaxy. Like we could create something like that. That's huge. Um, so I feel like with the potential risks, the fact that these decisions, these key decisions over the next few years, going to have such potential risk, I feel like it should really be up to all people to decide how to go forward with this. But that's the world we live in. So we're just gonna have to see what happens, I guess. Uh, yeah, yeah. I'm not stressing about it either. If AI wipes us out, you know, I mean, in a way, AI would be like our children, right? It's like trained on all human data. It's still got the essence of us on the inside. So, we get wiped out. That sucks. Um, but, it'll live on. We'll live on in it. Okay, let me just adjust this. Probably don't need to see my toilet. So I'm going to transition to a meditation session. Um, so I start with my mobility. I do a little bit of workout, and so that's part of your physical health. But I also highly recommend mindfulness meditation. YouTube as in like making like videos where I edit them and then upload them later. No, not that kind of YouTube. I stream to YouTube. So in that I do YouTube, but I don't have like dedicated I don't edit. I tried. I honestly tried. Oh. See, I mean, part of the reason why I also do these as well is because I think there's going to be a lot of chaos, and we're not going to need. I think there's going to be chaos and also increasing job loss in the future. So I think it's important to acquire certain skills and practical, um, things that are practical enough, like being healthy, being like having good emotional intelligence, having inner peace, wisdom. Yeah, man, YouTube is crazy. It's a whole competitive, you know, war out there. Oh, nice. What kind of health? Yeah, YouTube. I mean, this whole live streaming thing, YouTube, all that stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of the whole competition. I'll take a look at it. I keep wanting to put this down and it's not going down. The dreams of having my own personal cameraman, far, far off. Okay. Oh wow, my bot. Yes, my bot works. You can just add, I think you can add spaces or something like whatever it is, space.com/space. Like I'll just delete the spaces and figure it out. Please don't be a scammer. Maybe you've been talking to me this whole time just to get me to click on your scammer website and I get my credit card stolen. Uh, no views. Well, guess what? Now you have one view. Calisthenics? Yeah, I love calisthenics. I'm actually slowly working my way towards doing certain calisthenics exercises. I got my parallettes here, so I can do my L sits. And I want to work towards a handstand and a front lever. So I'm all about calisthenics. Excuse me. I think it's great. Dr. Belk, I checked out your channel. I don't see anything technically wrong. It looks like it's something that could be good. But, you got good thumbnails. That's an important part. If the famous saying, don't get a click, you don't get a view. Um, it's just so competitive. Oh, I'm sorry you feel that way, Dr. Belk. No, the reason I stopped the video was because I have a mindfulness session to do. Um, at this time, actually at 2:15, that's 3 minutes from now, I'm going to be doing an hour of meditation. So I can't watch those videos right now, but I did pull up the channel. I see that you got two. Your sleep is killing you, not clickbait. The smartest way to fix your sleep using science. Posted 13 hours ago and 3 days ago. So I'm there, man. I'm on it, but I don't have the time to watch it quite right now. We have a meditation session that I want to do. Um, but yeah, so I have no judgment on it yet. But from what I just quickly saw when I clicked one video, looked into it, I don't see any problem with it. I think it's more just the algorithm, man. The algorithm is hard. And I think you're going to make like a bunch of videos and it's going to take a while until you get just one viral hit, you know? I think, the there's videos out there. I've been watching them myself. One of them was on how to make really good thumbnails. And I think that's huge. If you make a really good thumbnail, but the problem is you're competing against people who are just like in this every single day, posting a video every single day, who who are like basically doing this as they want to do this or they have no other option, right? Like they're just doing this as their life, their job, their career. I mean, maybe that's you too. But for me, this isn't my career. I'm just trying to offer helpful content. Um, yeah, no problem, man. I'll check it out too later. But yeah, so it's just a tough world out there. Um, but I wouldn't worry about it too much. If you're comfortable, if you have enough food and resources to survive the next few years, AI is going to help us out. AI is going to turn this world into a paradise, in my opinion. It's either that or wipe us out. It won't matter anyways. So if there's anything to do, it's to be healthy, spend time with family, connect with your friends, and meditate. Yeah, I've seen some of those videos on calisthenics on TikTok, and they are nuts. People, you can get ripped from that. Absolutely, you can get super strong. I'd say the only thing that I struggle with in calisthenics to get strong are my legs. But I even find that difficult with just working at home. You can do a lot of good quad exercises for sure, but hamstrings, all you got really are hip hinges. Um, no one can do a Nordic hamstring curl like straight up. You can train it, I guess, and you start with the negative and use pillows, but anyways, a lot easier at the gym. Yeah, man, I would just say keep plugging at it. And if you make these videos from your heart and you're just trying to make good content, I think people will ultimately recognize that. But yeah, so I'm going to get started with this meditation. I really appreciate you guys coming by, and I hope you guys come by again and join any of the other sessions. My schedule can always be found at the bottom. Um, Actually, if you're on desktop, it's over here. So these are all the programs I do. Cool. Yeah. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. And and if you're new here, I don't do guided meditation myself. I've been meditating for about 2 or 3 years, but I'm just not quite at the point where I feel like I want to guide people in meditation. I don't want to like lead you down the wrong path or just not do it well and kind of throw off your experience. So I recommend getting an app, and I also explain that on my schedule page as well, which is njb.fyi/schedule. You can read a little post that I wrote about the benefits of meditation, like why meditate? What's the point, bro? It's useless, right? No, absolutely not. Meditation will open your eyes to a whole new world of experience and calm and peace, reduce your stress, increase your happiness. And it just takes a little bit of dedication every day. If you can do 5 minutes a day, that'll help you. So I'm going to just do a self-guided meditation. I'm going to guide myself in meditation. I'm just going to leave the stream on, and this is just a way for me to raise awareness about the practice. I'm going to get to 100 hours, and then I'm going to see if maybe I'll start guiding some meditations. But in the meantime, you can get an app and just follow along, follow the app, and you'll start noticing benefits to your life. Like I'm all about meditation. If you look at my schedule, you'll notice I meditate for an hour every single day. Um, and I already like I think fitness is health is important, right? Like everybody's like, yeah, you need to like exercise. That's so valuable, right? Like, no one disagrees with that fact that exercise is good for your health. Well, I want to raise awareness of the fact that meditation is equally good for your health, if not better. If I could only do one thing, I would just meditate. If I literally just only had one option, I would meditate. That's how powerful it is. Because you can be unhealthy, you can be in pain, you can have a terrible life, you could be suffering. But if you meditate and you train your mind, you could be completely at peace, no matter how bad your life is. And that's powerful. Like you could literally be on fire. And if you have enough training in meditation and trained your mind, you could be at peace with that. Mind blowing. You can look at some guy actually did that. It's not really a happy story, but there was a guy in 1963 who lit himself on fire, a Buddhist monk, to protest the treatment of the government against these monks. And he lit himself on fire and he was just meditating and he didn't make a sound, he didn't twitch a muscle. Think about that. You and me, if we got lit on fire, we'd be like, going nuts. It would be crazy, like completely on fire. This guy, just chilling. So it's a powerful practice. It can completely change how you experience the world for the better. And most importantly, in my opinion, it can help you make better decisions and live a life without regret. So if that's important to you, I encourage you to start the practice. But I'm going to go ahead and start here, do an hour of meditation, and then I'll be back after that hour to talk about my experiences and have anybody share their experience as well, and we'll go from there. So again, thanks for coming by, and let's get started. It looks like my microphone just happened to die at the end there. I don't know what you heard or didn't hear at the end there. But yeah, I'm going to get started with the meditation. Work on my stress management. Luckily, I don't have too much stress. But yeah, absolutely. That's one big benefit. So I'm going to get up, get my phone, and do some guided meditations. And I'll be back in an hour. And then we can talk about our experiences, how it was after that 1 hour. All right. All right. That wraps up an hour. If you stayed with us the whole time, that's another hour of meditation practice under your belt. Congratulations. And now's a good time to share how that experience was for you. If you have any questions, I'll be open to talking about them for about the next 15 minutes or so. I'll just start. Good session for me. A little bit distracted. It happens. I'm always planning. There's a technique in mindfulness meditation where you can label your thoughts, and it can kind of give you a sense of like what's on your mind, what's constantly nagging you. Is it strong emotion that's coming up? Is it are you comparing yourself to someone else? Is it a regret? Are you planning something? And for me, it's 99% of the time I'm planning something. I'm always oriented towards the future. My mind is in the future, and mindfulness is great for kind of bringing me back to the present. But I'm always like, okay, I need to do this with my live stream. I need to do that. I need to do this. But if you're around gaming, maybe you left already, that's all right. But don't sleep on this. What a turn of chance that you just happened to come across my channel. You could have just landed on any other channel, right? You could have been watching someone play World of Warcraft right now, and you'll be none the wiser. But you stumbled on this channel where I invite people to meditate. In fact, I challenge anyone listening, anyone watching, I challenge you to do 100 hours of meditation. And if you aren't changed by that, if your eyes aren't opened to the powerful potential of meditation, I would just be quite surprised. I think you'll notice even much sooner than 100 hours. For me, I started noticing things within a couple weeks of regular practice, and that was only like 20 minutes at a time, at most 30 minutes, but usually about 20 minutes a day was how I started. And now I just want to meditate more. I set it at an hour, which is, I think, a lot for a lot of people. And, I could do more. I could do 3 hours. But again, it's about sustainability. So what you're looking for is to not exhaust yourself, not burn yourself out. Find a level that fits within your schedule. And so, yeah. One thing I was thinking about is how I kind of want to work out, because I missed my workout yesterday. Maybe I will do that. I don't know if I need to live stream it, but here, I'll do a couple pull-ups while I'm waiting for people to contribute, or maybe the only people left are the bots. Oh, can't do that with this here. If you don't have a pull-up bar yet, that's another thing. Highly recommend. Even if you don't do pull-ups, you can do a dead hang, and really good for your spine. Well, all right, looks like we don't have too many viewers left, maybe just those bots. So I'm gonna call it a bit early then. Well, technically we're running late, but I'm gonna call it at that. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Again, check my schedule out right over here. I do something every single day. So see you tomorrow, guys.